I'm pushing that
Yeah,
now.
do that now. Okay. Let me get back to our code here. Got to remember where we sort of left off here. So Kevin's finishing up a tiny little thing for work. Muted. All right, we must have hit a button and we went cold. So now you should be able to hear me again. See if you can hear me now. We must, when we moved the mic, I think we did anything.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So let me get back to what I was saying. I was trying to understand how I lost at the epic level that I did a mental model of this code. And I realized it's because this code has become heavily event driven. And I am not good at event driven logic. This is why I can't write front ends, right? There's some function, you wrote code for it, and there's no linear path to it. It's when something happens, this is going to fire, right? What's beautiful about concurrency in Go is that even though there's concurrency going on, out of order execution, you can always sort of visualize the linear path to that function.
Yeah.
So you can do concurrency without it really being event driven. It's different. Like if you're working in JavaScript and you start using promises,
Yeah.
right? You know me, I put a weight everywhere because I need that asynchronous to feel synchronous.
Yeah, this happens and this happens.
Okay,
and this
I need
happens.
that.
Yeah.
That's the only way my brain works. So I can't do front ends because eventually I lose track of all the events. This has become event driven. We've got 3 potential places for events to be happening now.
Yeah.
A message can come in from the WebSocket, from the UI. A message can come in from NATs. Then we've got to go do this. Now a message can come in from a TCP connection. We've got like 3 levels of events that can occur. And then when you look at the code and we start looking at domain level, these things, these are event handlers at the end of the day, right? Like everything had to become event handling. And this is why I know I lost mental model of this code base, because my brain has a hard time keeping track of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've done our best, I think, to hopefully make that happen. We've been able to isolate some things to like this function here, which is not the handshake one, but this one, UI listen, right? This is a sort of an origin function where an event can occur because we're reading sort of a message, right? So a message coming in off of the UI, right? Several things can happen. We could do this. We could do this. Sort of we could do this. On the NAT side, this is an origin. It's a read, right? Everything sort of originates from read. Something came in. We never do anything. Well, obviously we have to initiate a send. We'll look at that in a second. But in this case now, it came in off of NATs. So, right, we do that.
Yeah. That has
and
to
now
be handled.
on our TCP side, what's interesting, and I think again why I lost some mental model is the handlers are sort of here, aren't they? I'm wondering now that I'm having this conversation, like, do these handlers belong here or do they belong at the domain level? Like maybe they should be in here, because if they were in here, maybe I wouldn't have lost track of it. So on the send side, what happens is we don't have a handler route for that, right?
No.
What we have is the listen piece. So where is that code here on the connect? Oh, UI handshake. Here it is. UI listen, right? So this is, UI listen is when we hit send. That's an origin message coming in. So what my point here is that the business logic is sort of controlled when data is coming in, whether it's from the UI, whether it's from NATs, and now whether it's going to be TCP, sort of what we're going to do. And at some point in the code, I sort of went in this direction here, didn't I?
Yeah.
Server client. And my brain is saying, maybe in all reality, we wouldn't have gotten lost here if this stuff was down here. Because if this stuff had been down here, I think our brains would have seen the events. I didn't see these event handlers for the TCP. We sort of moved them up here.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it now.
And really, this is the logic now on the TCP side. when we establish a client bind, when we read, when we process. Now, the thing is that we haven't done this piece here yet, right? And this is going to be asking to create a client connection, which at the end of the day then should be executing bind. And then when a socket comes in, it should be read, right? And I think I put it up there mainly because, but it was wrong, right? Because this just established the listener. All the logic was in the business layer. I think if we had done this, if we had done that,
It would have been
this
clear.
wouldn't have gotten sort of lost at all. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, now when I look at this, let me see. Event-driven systems are hard here, right? So I'm gonna go back in it. Hold on. I had a new client handler. Right. Okay. Let's go back for a second. I want to see the red. So this was the new server handler here, but maybe really what this should have been was, what is our business package called?
Chat bus.
Chat bus, right?
Yep.
Chat bus here. Chat bus here. I think this is going to help our mental model of the system, because now when I see UI, what is the first thing I see? I see handshake, that's fine. Then I see UI listen, and we know that's an origin story. Then we go to NATS, and we see, okay, NATS read message. We know this is an origin sort of story, right? With the send, even in the UI had a little functions to help. Now, if I come to TCP, we know we had the send function, which maybe what I'm going to do is move to the bottom, right?
Yeah. Unexported.
Just like we did for the other thing. Put it down here, right? But now we've got our client handlers and we've got our server handlers, and it's all together here.
Yeah.
There was some, like, I don't know why my brain went app at that point, other than I was maybe sort of thinking about this sort of too hard. But now we're not going to lose track of this anymore. I think also when we get back to this code a week from today, we'll have some more mental models of this, right? So now everything's together. I mean, imagine we were about to split some of the business logic in an app layer form.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like this change already. But I think that's why I started to have such a hard problem with this, because this is really event driven. And I've always had a hard time organizing code at a event driven level. And I'm struggling. I think we've gotten closer, but I do think like we may need some better comments around, even though we've got the file names. This is everything NATS. This is everything UI. This is everything sort of TCP. And I think by putting the work we did 2 days ago, by making sure our client manager managed the lists of things and sort of exposed that a little bit more, it's going to reduce complexity sort of up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did say here we need to add a drop event and the call, and to call that handler.
Yeah.
And this is going to be foundational work. So if we got to get back to understanding how all this stuff works again, right? But we know the following. We know that there is this read go routine that's getting created. And the read go routine is getting called after we have a client that was listening. So if we go back to where start's going to be for a second, some manager here, right? New client manager, shut down. Here's dial. So establish a socket connection.
Yep.
We come in here, we add it to the list, we do a start, right? So that's us establishing a connection. It's going this way. Then on the server side, you have the same thing. We've accepted a socket connection. We sort of do a start. So what's nice from my perspective is everything sort of happens here. This is where we're going to know if a socket connection dropped, because this read is going to fail. So that's the logic here, right?
Okay.
We're asking if it's not temporary, then break to the close, okay? Which essentially, when we break to the close, we're going to get back to this defer. And this defer is G client. Then we're going to call close, which could error. And then we're going to call the wait group done, right? So here's the question. What does close do again? Close removes everything from the list. So I don't want to do that right away. So here's the thing. I think what we want to do here is this is where you want to call drop. So we log it got disconnected, then you call drop, and then you take it out of the list, and then you say you're done. So that's the only place that we need the drop. And this will let us know that this client connection is no longer viable, right? And then it will be removed from the list.
Okay.
Right? Like this is the piece that we were missing here. If a dial call fails, whatever, like we can handle the error on this side, but this is an event because this is happening in a separate Go routine outside of our existence, right?
Okay.
Right? It's one thing for dial to fail. We'll get the error back. From our perspective, not even dial. Like if the writer fails, we'll know because we're trying to write and whatever, it failed, we move on. But being able to know something dropped could be interesting. Now, remember, I did want to add the idea of drop because I thought we were going to be managing another collection of these TCP connections. And we're not going to be doing that anymore. But I still think it's nice to be able to expose back to the app layer, in our case, our business layer, that even though we've got the logging, that this is dropped. Maybe you want to do something. In our case, I think we're just going to log at this point.
Okay.
Because we've written code to have this manager do the work, right? I mean, that's a client's list here.
So the idea here is that we're dropping that client connection and then we're closing beforehand.
Well, yeah. You don't want to take it out of any state when you're sending. You're going to make a user call.
Okay.
You don't want to take it all out of state until the user's completely done with it. So you got to call drop before you call close.
Okay.
Okay. But remember, our manager is leveraging clients for all this stuff. And our client manager is giving us the ability to sort of dial, but we know all that's going to get bound in between. Now, since this, again, we're not maintaining a second list of this. So even the client manager doesn't particularly care. Find won't work at the end of the day. So though we don't need the drop anymore per se at the business level to do some of our own cleanup, because the manager's using clients and clients knows how to clean up after itself now on the close. We did spend the time to add the event, so we'll just, somebody might want to know that at an event level. Okay, so we've got that. We've dropped that in. We also know that we've already added this logic here on UI listen, right? I don't like peer-to-peer, we're going to call it TCP. All right, that's what we're labeling it now. So this was WebSocket TCP NATs. And we know that this, if we receive this message and we did the key stuff. So if we retrieve it and it's not nil, then we can send that over and we continue. Life is good. So possibly all we have left is to deal with these two things here. And this is going to be when we receive a message in from the other side. So like here's the call to bind, right? Maybe we add that.
Okay.
Here's the call to drop. I say we add that. And I would say that we do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. Okay. Now, remember the idea is that you read until you get everything, and then you return and sort of send it to the process where you get a full sort of information about it. This is just raw bytes.
Got it. Okay.
I always forget about how read works when you're not going to wait for the whole message, which we're going to be able to do. So I just want to go back to this for one more second here. So we do a full total block here. Yeah, we do a full. So the idea is this isn't supposed to return until you know that you've gotten a full block or an error, which is fine. So what code do we need to look at to determine what we're going to do? Well, let's go back to the send for a second. This was our TCP send. We know that we're getting back this marshalling, and we decided to use the NATS message for this, which I think right now is fair. Okay. So that would mean to me that there's code here that we want to sort of copy. And it would have to be all this code in the function here, right?
Message. Okay.
So I would say, if we just did it sort of quickly here, this would be more in the processing piece of it. So let's start with the bytes. The question is going to be this. How are we going to know let's start with the server, because this is kind of what we're looking at here. How do we know that we've got the full amount of bytes back? Okay. Mm-hmm. See, all we did was write a JSON document. I think we're going to have to terminate this with a carriage return line feed.
Sort of like a marker that this is the
We
end.
need a marker. And I think we could do it with a carriage return line feed. This won't be right? This could be a single JSON. There won't be any carriage return line feeds in the data itself. And so we almost have to do this. So we'll let us do that. That is a single character. That should work. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we can write this, and then we write the end of marker, right? So we're looking for the carriage return line feed.
Okay, so this would be like the message, and then a line feed. And then
yeah, because if I try to add this to this slice of bytes, all it's going to do is make a copy of that. Like, it's going to be really inefficient because there's not another element for this last byte, and I don't know what the length of this is going to be until we marshal it. So it would be really inefficient for me to append that to the output slice, because it would have to basically, the capacity of the slice would have, you know what I'm saying, is met. And now you got to double it. So,
exactly.
So it's just cleaner to just write that and then just write the one more byte from a memory perspective.
Yeah, you're not creating that. You're not making the backing array larger is how that works.
It would if I did append. Yeah. It would have to double the size of it just to add.
Yeah, one
more byte.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Now, remember our hack tool for a second. We wrote handlers in here, right? And if you remember, we had this line right here.
Read string, yeah.
Okay. So, from a server side for a second, do here? Hold on.
from
Okay, so if we're gonna do buff.io, now we have to do this again. So let's go back. So now on the bind, we do that. We set a new we set the reader to be a buff.io reader.
Okay.
Okay. And then what we can do here is when this gets called, we do our type asserting back to an IO reader. So then we can do the read string, right? And then we essentially take this code and do that. So this is going to let us read the one JSON at a time. I would say that there's going to be on the client side of this, this is when the server responds back. But I don't think the server ever responds back. I think on our client side, it's literally just send. And then the CAP server gets it. Like, I don't think we have to implement any of this.
Any of these client handlers?
No, because remember, I established a socket connection to you.
Yep.
I send you a message.
Yep.
Right? Now you take it and you put it on the UI. You're not sending me anything back.
Oh, okay.
Right? You establish a socket connection with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sending me on that side. So we need these handlers to leverage the client manager, but we're never gonna be receiving anything back. We're not doing two-way communication here. We're doing one-way communication. We're just going bop, 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 bop. We don't get anything back because you're gonna establish your own connection back. Because it's too hard for us to like say, do I already have a client connection? Right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to do that. So we would both have to manually establish a socket connection. Now, we could write some code later that says if a socket connection comes in and we have things, just automatically reconnect back. But this is all going to be one-way sort of communication. So I think we only have to implement this side of it.
Which is?
The server side receiving a message from the socket that established a connection with us.
Not the client side where we're sending.
Right. So when we establish a socket connection with our client, it's just sending messages and never getting anything back.
Okay.
Not even acknowledgments. We just send it. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
We don't need to do the other piece of it. We're not doing two-way communication over the same socket connection. Not in this implementation.
Got it.
If we were, if this server, say process, could send back an ACK, in which case then we'd want to process it here. But what would we do with the ACK?
Yeah,
like there's really. Like who cares, right?
Yeah, we know you're there, but
I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't think we need the ACK. In other words, going back. So this is our read, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have this, and the process then would be that we got our data. So let me go back to Nats for a second. Once we get that, then we know that this comes from our data. Let's see here. Our data should return a slice of bytes, and unmarshal should take a slice of bytes. And I also don't have a SH here, so we need that. Now I don't know why we don't have a Nats. Oh, we have a Nats message. And SH. Let's think about what we're doing here.
Giving you context.
Yeah, if it fails, then now I think
client.
The request had some context. Now it's unhappy with a bunch of stuff here. Cannot call. Oh, these are not functions. They're fields. Okay. So what do we know now? we know that we'd be able to unmarshal the NATs. We decided to use the NATs message. Why not? It's our basic protocol. We can rename that very soon to not saying it's just a NATs message. It's our bus message, right?
Got it. Okay.
And maybe we do that. This is our bus, right? Because we're changing the bus from NATs now to a peer-to-peer.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions. Like, why is it NATS in out message?
Because right now NATs was the only thing we had on the bus, and we wanted our brain to have a mental model of that.
Yeah, this is.
But I think we're going to have to call this a bus message or a peer message, right? It doesn't matter where it goes. We can call it. We'll figure it out. It's not the most important thing right now. We don't have to worry about this because this is a peer-to-peer connection. So we know that it's for us. Now, I should be able to take all of this. Now, this is code that we should eventually also be able to reuse. See what I'm saying? I'm going to copy this. Let's start with this right here. I'm going to copy all this code. But now that we're going to be using all this code in two separate places, we should be able to, you see, even here we called this bus, right? We should have called this NATs as we see this. But so now message comes in, we validate the signature. Again, we're going to make this code reusable somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, if the user is found, send the message directly to the user. Okay.
So it's retrieving and then.
I don't know. Let's steal this for a second because I don't know if this applies to us, but let's just see. So I don't know what just happened here. So we get the UI client manager, which we don't have access to. That's fine. We needed to know what we needed. So in order for this to work, we need the UI client manager. Now, I think we could do a couple things here. The UI client manager belongs to this business, right?
Yeah.
So we need access to this manager. The UI client manager is part of the config. And the question is, where does the UI client manager get created? Right here.
UI client new.
So I think, based on what I just saw there.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can do this. We can do this. Ask for it here. Okay. I don't know why it's upset with that just yet. Oh, could be because of some dumb things I did down there. Yeah, I don't know. There's an if. Oh, let me just get rid of this for a second.
Yeah.
I put it in the wrong place. So excuse me.
It has to be server. Because now all that is gonna go away, all those client handlers.
This has to stay because we have to satisfy an interface.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter. We have to satisfy the interface even though we're not using it because we're only going in one direction with our traffic. So there's our UI client manager, which now let's just do this. It might be just better to do that.
We're going to just name everything contacts. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, then we've got our log. And now I'm going to go back to main for a second. I don't know. Don't worry about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But our new, now on the server side. So what we're going to do is this. Let's create the UI client manager here.
Yep.
Okay. Now what that means is that we can pass it here. And I can come down here and add it here. So it's the same one. So now we've got it. The client again doesn't need it because we're only doing this to be able to send.
Okay.
Okay. So now we've got a client manager in both places that got created here. So now we can come back and look at this code. If the user is found, send the message directly to the user. This is what we want, right?
Yeah.
Now, where was that logic again? If the user's found, I called that nats, but yeah, let's just call it nats for now. I think we're gonna have to rename that.
Because we were sending over a WebSocket.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's on the TCP side, so we may have been using bus as a general term there, and I don't know. I don't remember. I don't want to undo it.
Yeah, okay.
So now our problem here is we need the send, right? And we have this business TCP send where we're not using business at all, are we? Oh, we are for the cap ID. Right. Now, I don't have a business thingy majig in here, right? But the only reason I'm doing this is because I need the cap ID.
Yeah.
So a couple things then. This, at the end of the day, are we using this anywhere else is the next question. We are.
UI.
See. On the UI side, we're using it to be able to do a TCP send.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's two things here then we can do. We just need okay, there's two things we can do. We don't want to have, it would be a, oh no, wait. This has nothing to do with TCP send. This has to be a UI send. No matter what, it has to be a UI send. Okay. Where is that code? It has to be this.
Okay.
And guess what? It doesn't care about needing anything from business.
Why?
Because it doesn't use any of that state. It gets it all passed in. This is the most beautiful thing that could have happened to us. Because now we have a function. Which means we have a function that we were able to use here.
There. Yep.
And that means we have a function that we can use here.
Oh, okay.
Right? And the 2 already has a WebSocket connection, which means, again, we have that. So that just saved our ass because I don't have to worry about trying to figure out should these things have a business, should have access to the business itself. And it didn't need it because now this UI send is just a function. We got lucky because the WebSocket is on the UI there, and we have that information because of the retrieve.
Okay.
So what's interesting here is if the user's found, send the message directly. Now, if I go back to this would be very weird at this point, but I don't like this logging, but we're going to fix it at some point because a lot of this code is reusable. So we're going to have to come back and fix this. Okay. Because all this code now can be used in 2 different places. But I just want to see it work before we try to consolidate.
Exactly.
So I think now we've got the read for the JSON, and then we got all the same code we had on the NAT side, like when it came off the bus. Now it's coming off of our socket connection, and we're using the same client manager. And this client manager, now here's the thing though. When this, oh yeah, but that's the client manager for the UI client manager, right? So that's where the WebSockets are. This could work. We still have to establish the peer-to-peer, but I think this code could work. And then we can take this code and put it in a place where it's reusable.
Got it.
Right? Super interesting, right? Okay. We're kind of down to one last thing. Or 2 things. We need to implement this, and then we got to wire it in from the UI.
Yeah.
This establishes the dial connection, but
so when you actually double click on that, this is what's going to fire the P2P first.
Yeah, we're going to execute this route.
Yeah.
So we need a data model. So we got to define a data model for this. This is kind of where we sort of left off here. But what we need is the user ID. That's all we need, the user ID, right? So we could do a couple things here. We want the user ID of the person we want to connect to. We could put it on the route.
Like passing it in that way, okay.
Or we could do it where it's sort of hidden. And what I would think is that we just, because I don't know how this is going to have to expand. Oh, that cursor is amazing.
Yep.
If we do that, right? We do that. Then the idea here is we would get that with the request. We would do that. Now this needs an encode or decode. I always forget what interface it needs. Let me go and look at, it's been a while. If I bring up Ardan service, just be easier. I mean, in the project though, I should be able to just do this actually. It needs a web decoder. Let's just do it this way. Foundation web needs a web decoder. We need this, right? But what? But if I do this, cursor, I keep typing code by the way.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten used to doing.
I was gonna alias code, but sometimes like I'm looking at a regular text file or something.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to lose it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I've been struggling with this is just easier if I steal this code here. All right. Yeah, that was the thing here. So let's go back here. I need a decode. JSON, and yeah. So now that's happy. So we would decode this. If that failed, that would give us, I think, what we need now for this.
Which it seems like it's giving it to you. Yep. User ID.
Now, this wants it as a common address. So we have to do a common address. Do you remember how we do that hex?
I think it's common.hex to address. Maybe that. No, didn't like something. To variables, whatever returns one value.
Oh, it only returns
the error.
No. Oh, it just returns the common address.
Yeah, the error.
So it can't fail. Huh. It feels wrong to me. But we must have been using this other places in the code, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, given an ID, common. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Interesting. I find it interesting that doesn't fail.
Why would it fail?
Because maybe I gave you letters, not a proper hex. You know what I'm saying?
String.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
And it's taking a string. But
I just don't remember. Whatever.
Huh.
We're fine. So given the user ID, now we have a user ID there. And this can return an error.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Forgot. Now, I don't think it's a precondition. I think this is more of a
internal only log.
So they'll get a 500 with no information.
Uh-huh.
We'll be able to log this information.
Oh, okay.
That's the idea. If I just do internal, they'll also get this information here. Now, do we do a 204, I guess, if it's established? Right? Like we could do this, nil, and then that will send a 204 back saying that the connection's been established.
Oh, okay.
Now, I've hard-coded this. That's fine. I can hard-code this. I shouldn't hard-code this. So I'm guessing that we have that as a config. This right here is, we're going to listen on port 4000, I guess. So, yeah. So we need that information at the app layer here. So right now we asked for this, we asked for this. We can ask for maybe we'll just do that.
Yep.
It's wild. Now it didn't.
It missed.
It missed this, right?
Yeah.
There it is. So now we got that. We got that. We got that, and now it can fix that. It's really amazing the work that that team has done. However, they're doing this. So. Yeah,
that's one thing that I love about it is being able to tab and act like Copilot. I don't think did that where it would tab you down.
Yeah, no, Copilot doesn't do it nearly as well. Nearly as well. Okay, so nice. Okay, I don't know what broke here.
Cat bus.
Oh, so now we have to ask for it. Yeah.
And then tab, yeah.
But now we've got to make sure we come back to main, because it's got to be put here. Okay, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So now we add it to the config. The config gets it and can pass it to our routes function, which in turn now knows where the server address is. So we can establish a. So what this also means, however, I mean, from a config perspective, all caps are going to be basically listening on the same port. Like if we wanted to be a little smarter, we could have a server address. Oh, it's only one way anyway. Yeah, no, the address is fine. We have to all listen on the same port, or we'd have to go back into our other config and specify it. So it doesn't make sense. Anyway, there it is. TCP, I think, from my perspective, we can hard code. So that is the PDP connection, right? Peer-to-peer connection.
Yep.
Now, I don't like PDP because we've stopped using that. So
it's more like, yeah, TCP.
TCP connect, right? Or we just do, just leave it. I don't think that's necessarily bad. And I think we rename this to TCP connect request, right? Good. I think it's more descriptive. I would just change this to a TCP.
It's more of, it gives you a little more idea of the use case for it. TCP.
I'm struggling with. It's fighting me now, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if we just do con, right?
Yeah.
I'm still old school sometimes. I just want to do it myself. I think that's fine, TCP con. But that feels bad at the function level, to be honest with you.
I think it reads better being full, even though it's a little longer.
But the data model, I think it's better this way.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we now have the endpoint that we can sort of connect to. Wow.
We have the endpoint. We have the TCP send, the one way.
Yeah, we got it. As long as it's found. So we now have to go back to our TUI.
Yeah.
And we had added, we had already added a handler for this thing when we double click on it. I just don't remember where we put it.
I thought it was AI top.
No, that AI toggle, but it would have been. What happened?
PT, but I meant CT.
Hold on here. Agent, but I know. Okay, we may have to run the thing and see what message pops up. But it would have to have been connected here on the list. Okay, wait. It had to be on the list box. Yeah, here. Look.
Set mouse capture, establish user. Okay. Oh, so it was already.
We kind of put that in there.
Yeah.
Right.
The spot was set up for it.
I never remember name, and then this must be the address, the user ID, right? Yeah, current ID, right?
Yep.
I don't know why we call it current ID, but
it's probably because it's the one you're like on. The person you have currently selected.
So we now have to make another API call. Where is the code for the call to listen? That's the real good question, right? So in main, what did we do here? We had an app package. No, we have this app is a client dot app. Oh, client here. Oh, remember we had this right here. There's the handshake. But that's establishing a WebSocket connection.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could do a couple things here. I think that we have this app, right? UI set app. And we have the app. So if we add support to make this call in our, right, that's the handshake. There's the receive cap message. This is like see, now this name is bad. This is really a UI client.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's really a UI client. Now, we could do the file. I like it under foundation.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Why?
But we could move it under.
If it's specific to UI,
it should be the only thing using it. Let's see what happens here if we do this. The only thing that should go rogue. I'm surprised.
Why is it not?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not. Sometimes when you do these crazy things, it throws go please off.
There it is.
Yeah. So I know how to fix it now, right? This is going to be, let's start with this though. That's good. That's good. That's good. But this is now going to be under copy relative path.
There it is.
There, right?
US.
Which means you're going to be under this.
Oh.
And you're going to be under this. And you're going to be under...
I think it's giving it to you there.
Yeah, just doing it myself. Okay. Now, if we do this, this might help a little bit with our now remember, even the data star used this stuff, didn't it? The data star was cool, but it did definitely add some interesting complexities. What kills me the most is can't get rid of that linter issue.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what's...
There it is.
And then we had a data stars. Yeah, and none of that data stars stuff's really working anymore. Somebody's got to come in and sort of do that. But if we do this, clients, TUI, our UI. See, now I think what's interesting. Now, the bad thing, though, is we had to make, so imports are now a mess because what was importing that? Data star is importing this, right?
Yeah.
And was importing it at a server level. This is why, I honestly, it should be foundation. If we got rid of data star, we don't have an issue anymore. because then this is only being used by this
the UI.
UI.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
specifically.
saying? Like, there's a big part of me that just wants to get rid of the data star stuff right now, because where else did we have data star stuff? We made a bunch of just changes for that. Well, let me just do it this way instead.
Yep.
Yeah. Where's this? So we expect this stuff to be in a main. This is in a, well, again, it's kind of breaking the import rules, because this function is now in US apps client. You know, but that one's fine. This is bad. No, that's fine. That's still under API there.
Yep.
That's under API. This is where it goes bad, because now you're going in the wrong direction. So what's bad now, again, in a production project, I can't leave this here.
Because you're importing something from the API layer.
Yeah,
into
you
the
can't
app layer.
import up.
Yep. You have to go
Yeah.
the other way.
Now, it is in commit history, right? But if I did this, and I did this, and we got rid of the data star stuff, which and I'm going to do a make tidy here. Oh, we also have to.
Oh,
I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
yep. I remember that from last episode.
I mean, the change set on this now is going to be big, but. So now if I do that, data star is still being used somewhere. Hold on. Data star still is being used somewhere.
What is that? Oh, that is HTML a vendor.
I just did a tidy, so I don't know why it's still bringing it in. Should have removed it. Hold on. Right, it's not used. So why is the tidy not? Oh.
Tidy's not playing nice.
No, tidy should have cleaned it up. GoMod tidy should clean up all that.
Unused steps.
I'm in the wrong project. That's why.
Oh, service. Yeah.
I just did now I was wondering why this happened, because this only happens in the service project. But I can't believe I did this a couple days ago. Like, man, that's crazy. Okay, at least I feel better about it. I'm going to do a make tidy, and I'm going to do a make deps upgrade. Yeah, I'll deal with the service project after. But I do this like twice a month, and I know I just recently did it. Okay, now data star should be.
Yeah, that's a big.
Should be gone, but it's not. Right, let me do another search. Okay, now it is. Yeah, that was old search.
It's a big change set.
Yeah, I mean, it's been in 3 months since we kind of did this. So there wasn't anything new that came in, but we also probably see more deletes than anything else.
A lot of deletes.
Yeah, because data star brought in a lot of dependency, right? Okay, but the fact that I got rid of data star here, mainly we're not going to support it anyway, means that I could move this client package up here to UI. I always treat the UI sort of separately anyway. And now we're not going to get confused that this client is sort of reusable across.
Yeah, it's not. It's
else.
Specific to.
This is where the project starts to break down a little bit. So then I would have just called that the UI client and left it in foundation. Right?
Got it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I think for now, having it there, it means that we can now add support for this new app layer function that we need, which will make the HTTP calls to, right? Essentially now we need the ability, these are big functions, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Probably could even organize these functions better, but we don't want to send a message. We want to establish
There it is.
TCP connection. Okay, and again, under app, domain, route, we need a user ID to do that, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So we need this, but we don't need a message.
We don't need the message at that point because we're just establishing the connection.
Now we're going to be doing a traditional web call, right?
Okay.
Now, up until now, I shouldn't say that. Well, no, yeah, I should say that. Up until now, we haven't had anything like this. So I'm thinking about where I want to steal from. And I would say that I could steal from my project here because I do have an auth client package that does this stuff. Now, it's good to define your own sort of default client for these things. I'm going to put that there for now. Okay. Mm-hmm. We got to reorganize this a little bit because we're doing a lot in here. Receive cap message, send message, pre-process. In fact, this actually only needs to be unexported anyway, doesn't it? Let's move it to the bottom. Then I think it can go in its own file. All right, let's start this way. So I need a client to do this. I'm not going to use the default client. I could, but I tend to have this done, and then did we decide no comments? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll leave those comments there. Then essentially we just need a HTTP client. Well, we kind of have one now with the default client. And then we need sort of this code here.
The do function? Or you're saying
this stuff in here. I could probably just steal this, and I don't need all of it. I need some of this. Let me just see what we need here. Okay, we do need a data model for this. It's essentially going to be the same data model, right? In fact, we could just even put this here. And we can make this a literal. That's what I want. And then I want this. Yeah, I wanted whatever was there. It's not doing it anymore. So user ID :2 dot. We have the user ID. Man, this thing's so lost right now.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's string. Oh, because we have an address already, right? That was the to address. So that's the user ID, right? That's fine. So we have that. We essentially need to encode this. So we take this, convert it into a string. Mm-hmm. We don't have to do anything else. Now we can do a new. Let's ask for context.
Okay.
The method is going to be an HTTP dot method post.
Yep. Just giving it.
We need an endpoint. So we know that's going to be 4,000.
Yeah.
Now I imagine that we
URL.
had this already, but that's for the WebSocket, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be the same 3,000 then, because we're going to be listening on whatever that is. 3,000. Okay. So I think what we want to do here, we made this a local constant, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I think what we want to do is get rid of connect.
And just make it a base URL,
Yeah.
basically.
And then where are we using it again? Here. And where are we using URL? Dial. So we want to do like a, yeah, we just want to do a bump dot sprintf. You just do a %s / %s, and it's going to be app.url. Actually, we just hard code this. It's going to be connect. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call it URL since it's a local variable. And that would solve that problem, right? None of that should break. And then we would have what we need now for this. But in our case, it's going to be called TCP connect.
And now it's URL.
Okay. Then we got that. And then for sure that's going to be next, but I just want to look.
Yep.
Let's just take this for now. Now we're going to use our default client. That's fine. And use our default client. Then we need to know what the status code is. We're expecting to get this, right? Like I said, the 204. If we get the 204, then we know it all worked.
And we're good.
If not, then we're going to read the response body. We're going to end up with essentially
something like
this code here, to be honest with you. Because that's what we're returning, one of these errors. And then that already is an error. My guess is we can return it as is. Yeah, we need an errors here. Okay. So I think this code here, I know we're not calling it yet.
Yeah.
With our default client, establish a TCP connection. This should make the call. This is the first thing we have to sort of test.
Okay.
Now this will have to be exported because we need to, no, it won't need to be. Because now if I go back to, oh yeah, it will be. Sorry.
It's not in the same.
It's going to have to be
package.
exported. We'll have to move this. Yeah, no, we got to make this call outside the package. It's my bad. just want to do it in the right place. Let's do it here.
Right at the end. Yep.
Okay, so now what that means is when we're back here, where was that code? Establish a connection. UI dot establish connection. That's fine. That's fine. If error, let's see what it gave me. Failed to establish, I can make this capital, or TCP.
Established, yeah.
I think that's
Sure.
it.
That'll work.
We're going to want to make that green, but let's just see if we can get this far.
Yeah.
Establishing a connection between each other. Now, before we test this, you're going to have to do the ifconfig again, looking for EN0. And you're going to have to tell me what your inet is.
Okay. What was it?
I don't know why it's called ifconfig, but
Config.
look for EN0. You and these little screens, bro. You guys.
Well, it's because I'm
I don't want to
normally
hear
on a big one.
Oh, well, I don't want to hear it. Then go horizontal. Yeah, that's it right there.
229.
Okay, hold on a second. I need to go into this Zarf client, not profile, database. Here. Okay. Oh, wait. What did we decide to call it, though? Shoot.
Was it just IP?
No,
Did I do it?
I don't.
I might have done it.
I don't remember. In fact, my brain's shutting down too because I don't remember where that is. It must be under client. Yeah, client storage.
Oh no, I didn't put it in my.
Where did we do ID? Damn, bro, where is this code here? Let's see here. User here. User. No, that's that. Storage ID. God, I'm confused.
We already have.
What does the file look like again? Hold on. Oh yeah, there it is. My account. So my account. And I want to put this under contacts. No, I don't think we added this yet.
No.
No. So we got to do it. So you have key.
ID, name, profile, file. Yeah, so we didn't.
So we're going to call this TCP con or TCP host string. And I don't need to do anything there. We need to.
It was update contact key.
Yeah, I don't need that because we're just going to read it. Wherever the code is for reading the TCP host. So this is in client here, right? But this has to use it. So now we've got a host. So we got to come down here.
There it is. TCP.
Host. And yeah, that's fine. Contacts. We need it here.
Okay.
We're going to call it TCP underscore host at the end of the day. I'm going to do it above because we do that one dynamically.
Yeah.
And then what is your actual?
It was 192.168.1.229
on port 3000. Okay. let's leave that. Let's finish this work here. So we're adding TCP host here. And this is us creating it, so we wouldn't do anything else there. We have omit empty, good. And then when we read, we're just taking the JSON directly. So there's nothing more we should have to do there. And then this returns a DB, which gives us the TCP host if it's there. That's fine. And then that there should be fine, right? User TCP host. So now my question was though, oh, I needed to pass that information up, I think. It's, yes, we've made a mistake somewhere here. This is wrong. This would be connecting to myself.
Oh, it's not.
I need a TCP host here.
Because that's who you're going to connect with.
That's who we're going to connect to, right? It's not this. It's that.
Okay.
That's who we're connecting to. Right? For that user, this host.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So on this side of the pond, now the question is, we need to get this information. We need to get it from the storage, right? Let me see. Query contact by ID through the database. And now we have it. Yeah. But this should only work if we have a thing, right? Exactly. So if you double click on this, then we could return that error. Exactly. And then we're using this function. We're using this function here, right? And so we can get that error back. And this is silly. There's probably a F for this, right? I don't know if we have to do a carriage return, but let's do it. So, and technically we wouldn't need to do that because it would know. So now we'll query the contact. We'll get the host if it's there. This will receive the TCP host. This will receive it. Then we'll try to establish a connection to your machine across when we double click. Some UI that we're going to want to do.
Yeah.
But at least we'll have some logs.
Exactly.
So
okay.
I'm going to close this. I'm going to push this big monstrosity.
Big commit.
Okay, first code to test TCP connection. Okay, so pull that down.
Yep.
I'm going to do a make run cap. I gotta go to our USDL. I'm gonna do a make run TUI.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Kevin. Now,
Connect.
hold on.
But we don't.
Double click on me.
Establishing peer connection. Failed to establish TCP connection. No TCP.
Okay,
host.
let me try to do it to you, and then we'll have some.
Oh, but
logs.
I don't have the JSON.
Oh, okay. Let me try it on you then.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fair.
WS.
That's bad. We couldn't make the API call. So that was bad on Bill. So hold on. Bad Bill. I guess reload that to get rid of that. I must have. Oh, bad Bill. We already put WS here. So we're going to have to fix that. Hold on. So I'm going to get rid of that. URL, new app, go to the definition.
Yep.
We keep that.
And then,
this has to be this, right?
mm-hmm.
And really URL is a bad name for that now, but whatever. And then over here, we need to really put this in some separate files.
Yeah.
This is going to be HTTP.
Okay. I see.
Okay. So quit you, get status, get commit -am. Fixing protocol on URL, hit push. All right, let's do a make run cap. I'm going to do a make run TUI. Let me do the double click first. Okay.
Internal server error.
Failed to dial TCP connection on 192.161.229.3000. No route to host. So one, we didn't get it down here.
We just got internal server error, but we did get the.
Oh yeah. So
that was the internal log.
we should do this to our. So I think I chose the wrong option here.
There.
Let's do internal. That way we get the message, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But other than that, so we're on the same network, but I wasn't able to establish.
3000.
I should have been able to do that on the same network, but let me think. Connect, no route to host. So we're going to have to try this a little differently to start with some basic networking. I'm going to start a telnet service and then try to connect through telnet. That should give us basic understanding of what we're doing here. But double check your IE, double check your
IF config.
Yeah, just one more time. Again, my networking foo isn't the best, but this should have, in my brain, that should have worked. Okay, so we're going to try the following.
229. Broadcast.
Yeah, no, that's, no, don't worry about the broadcast. That shows. So we're going to try the following. Hold on. I should be able to Mac OS telnet server, right? Some basic telnet on the machine should be good. Telnet is a program that we already have. I should be able to just say telnet, maybe help. I don't have telnet here. The Mac doesn't come with telnet. Telnet is like your most basic sort of way of, I'll have to install it with Homebrew. So I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, it's no longer included in macOS.
All right, let's do a brew install telnet. That's really interesting to me. We could even just build a hack server to listen now that we have all that code that we have. Actually, there's the telnet, right? So look, if I go back to our hack program for a second, hold on, install telnet. This started a server on 3001 here, right? Okay. And it doesn't die unless I hit Control C. So let's do the following for just a second. Make hack. All right, this is listening on 3001, right? Telnet. I should be able to do, I'm using, okay, whatever. Let me just try something here. Let me do the following for a second. No, I'm on 00000. Okay, that got me confused. So if I do this, server accept, it's waiting on this, right?
Yep.
Now, if I do telnet, dude, I used to know some of this stuff, bro. I used to know some of this stuff. I should be able to use telnet to connect a socket connection to this thing. Just like we were able to connect on a dial here. So let me, this is where you want like chat and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Connect to a port.
Telnet server address.
Oh, not a colon.
Oh, just space.
Okay, it connected. Okay. Like, it connected. Hit Control C.
Escape character is.
Yeah, I don't know why Control C is that way.
Looks like it's bracket, like control bracket.
No, I mean I'm sending data now to the server, but I don't know how to.
Escape character is control bracket.
I don't. Control bracket.
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to a telnet.
Yeah.
So I can send data to. Oh, I'm back in this command. Okay, exit. Quit. Quit. Okay.
Quit.
So if we do this again, I'm sending data.
Yeah.
Okay. That quit. Now, if I did ifconfig, I'm also here on this, right?
227.
Can I say so I got it.
Okay. On 3001. Quit.
Okay. Did you download telnet?
I can do it now.
Brew telnet.
Okay.
Now, oh yeah, once that comes in, do the same thing. Telnet 192.168.1, 227, 3001.
192, or was it?
Yeah, 192.168.
168.
It's right there. 1.227.
Dot 227.
Space 3001.
3001.
Good. Now message. Okay, you got it. Okay. So you were able to just do all that, right?
Yep.
And then quit, and it closed. So you're able to establish a socket connection. And maybe what happened was, yeah, I had to accept it. So let's do the following. I'm going to do the make run TUI. Run your TUI again.
Okay.
Oh, I'm only running telnet here, right? No, I'm running my cap. I'm running the hack program.
You're running hack.
Okay, let me shut this down. Let me do the following now. I'm going to do a make. Okay. What might be happening is that it didn't ask me if I wanted to, if I agreed to accepting that connection.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
So look, that server's up and running, right?
Yep.
It's running on what, 3,000?
3,000.
Connected to Mac, localhost there. Connection closed by foreign. I don't know what all that just meant.
Yeah.
But if I did this, it should just sort of blow up.
Bad.
400 bad request connection. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Okay, we can't use 3,000, dude. It's Bill is bad. I'm a bad human being. Hold on. It's my mistake. Watch. We use 3,000 for the HTTP side. That's not what our server should be on. It's 4,000.
Oh, okay.
That's why this is happening.
Okay.
I'm like, this don't make any sense. Yeah, it don't make any sense because we're using the wrong port. This has to be 4,000. 3,000 is the WebSocket. So change your thing to 4,000.
Yep. I need to.
I'm going to restart my. Here, let me push latest now too while we're there. I don't remember what this code change did. Oh, just better logging. All right. Yep. Just some logging. All right. So now I'm going to do a make run cap. Make run TUI. Let me know when you're running.
I'm running.
Let me double click.
No log.
I got no log and you got no log. Okay, I just did it again.
Oh, establishing peer connection.
No route to host.
Connect, no route.
No route to host. But you should be listening on 4,000 on that IP address because I was able to. This is where I need, like, this stuff should just be working. I do telnet.
68-1-29. What about 3001?
Let's double check that I'm listening on 4,000. Maybe I got a bug in this code.
Maybe.
I think I have a bug in this code here. I should be using TCP address. I bet you I'm not using TCP address.
TCP address.
No, TCP address, net type, TCP address on the server. Let's see what we're using on the client. On the client, when we do a dial. Okay, let's double check what we're doing on the dial side of this. Oh,
3,000.
See, that was for the WebSocket. We didn't need to change that. Okay, now I know where things went wrong, right? This is for the WebSocket. Okay. And remember what we had here before. I know what I did wrong now.
The WS.
We had okay, bad Bill. It's okay. I make too many mistakes nowadays.
WS.
So if I go back here and we just hard code that. That was our WebSocket, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is going to be our TCP socket, which is, no, this is going to be our, Oh no, we have to keep what we had here. Let's just keep this the way it was. Because we do have a WS connection and we have the HTTP connection.
Yeah.
What we need is the TCP address, which is
the
on 4,000. Okay. Now, the question is, where did we make this mistake? We need to pass this in as well. We need to pass this in here.
Yeah.
So let me do that. Go to the definition. TCP address here, right?
Yeah.
The handshake stays the way it is. Okay. God, I'm making so many mistakes. This has nothing to do on the client side. Keep this, let's undo this. Remember, it's not the TUI that's establishing connection. It's the cap.
Oh.
Let's go back and look at the cap again. So when we run this code,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be running TCP host. And when I looked at the logs, we did try to dial against 192.168.1.29.4000. The question is, again, was the cap, not the client, is the cap properly listening on
4,000.
this interface? And it should be, because when we did the new server, there should be some logs here that we're missing, but
resolve TCP address.
did we not? Maybe we didn't start it. Like, did we call listen? Cap, where is it? Ah, listen. Okay, that's what we needed. Let's put some logging in here for a second.
Yeah. Address. Yeah.
Because that's what it's doing here. So this should be the listen right there. Okay. And then listen is doing this. So let me just do this again.
Yeah.
Run cap. Listen there. So if I do telnet, first of all, if I do telnet on all interfaces, it established a connection. It closed it. Now, maybe I have to come up. I didn't think I had to come up on 192. I thought by listening on that, it would listen on all. But you see, it's not letting me connect,
it's
right?
Not doing it.
So let's do this. I don't know enough on my networking side here. Let's do this. I'll tell it to listen on this interface. See if it will. Man, I know I used to do this stuff.
Right there, I saw it. But it's doing...
Yeah, I can't bind on that. However, it worked. Yeah, it worked when we were running the hack program.
It did.
It did, right? I was able on the hack program to telnet on that IP address. Was I not?
We didn't try it on 4,000. We tried 3,001.
Oh, but that shouldn't matter. It's all the same stuff. Shouldn't matter if it's 3,000 or 3,001 or, right? I mean, that shouldn't have mattered, because if I do this, if I do this and I say, oh, now it's not connecting. Didn't we connect before? Oh, wait a second. What's my IP address? That's
That's
your...
mine.
Damn it.
Yours is 7. Yeah, 7.
That's why. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So you try to telnet into that right now.
Okay. Telnet 227 4000.
You connected.
Yep.
Okay, kill that.
Yep.
Oh, when I double click on you, it's that. Okay, I understand that now. So I want you to bring up, you have latest code?
I do.
Bring up your cap. Make sure it's 227 in your...
I need to set that up. So data JSON and then Bill. What was it called?
It's, I think we're fighting a bug that doesn't exist. Hold on. Zarf cap client database TCP underscore host.
TCP underscore host.
192.168.1.227 on port 4000.
168.1.237 on 127 on
colon 4000.
But why are you screaming at me? 192.168.
Put it in
comma. Sorry.
Put it in quotes too. All right.
Oops. And
okay, save that. Rerun your cap and rerun your TUI. And now double click.
Connection established.
Yeah, dude. Like, come on. I'm like, I ain't that
but
bad.
It failed. Well, it's showing a fail message on your end.
No, because before it's just old messages.
That's old message. Okay.
So we just got that. Now if I double click on you, now I'm not able to establish connection on your side, which is weird because you're running the latest version of the cap.
I am.
Oh, but you're coming. You just established a socket connection with me, right?
Yeah. 192.227.4000.
Yeah, but I'm 227, right?
Yeah, you're 227.
Clear that window. Clear your log window. Hold on. Okay, so I'm not able to...
And now if I...
And you're 229.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, but hold on a second.
No route to host.
You've established a socket connection with me on... That was the log, right? No, that was... Where is that log? Server event.
229.
Waiting.
63622.
Client G started. Okay, cool, right? Like you connected to me from 229. In fact, I see you there. Hold on. So I got a connection from my machine to your machine. Oh, hey, can I ask you a question?
No, why?
Sorry, Kevin.
No worries.
Live show. Okay, so we need to figure this out because you can telnet, right? You did a telnet.
Yeah.
To this.
I did.
let's go. Oh no, but I can't connect to you.
You can't
So
connect to me.
you've established me. So let me try a telnet session for. My problem is I can't. So let me try to telnet to you. What is your IP address again?
It is 192.168.22 or 1.229.
On 4,000.
4,000.
And you're sure you're running
Yeah.
the latest version of that
Yeah.
cap?
Yeah.
Hit Control C again on that. I don't understand, bro.
Yeah. Already up to
Bring it up again and let's look at the logs.
Okay.
No, don't worry about the client right now. I'm worried about. It says on that IP address, and you have to be on my network.
Yeah, I'm on.
And it says, yeah, accept info waiting, right? And go back to your config again.
My
if config.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I just don't understand. This is like a bummer. I mean, we're at the top of the hour, so. But 192.168.1.2.
.1.229, and it's 192.168.229.
Maybe you have a firewall on. See if you have a Mac firewall on.
Command for that.
Just do a search for firewall. Firewall is on. Turn off your firewall.
Okay. Okay. Let's try that.
Restart the service again. I don't think I keep my firewall on. Oh, I do keep my firewall on. Okay.
And you have VPN active.
Block.
You had a VPN active though on yours.
Oh my God, look at all this allow incoming on all these little programs I've ever run in my lifetime.
Yeah, no, nothing changed here.
Well, I haven't tried it, but you turned your...
Yeah.
Okay, put your firewall back on. I think we have to add... We might have to add something here, but I don't know what to add. Like, bring up your firewall, and then... It's funny, I got all this little stuff here, but I don't know... Like main, maybe? Do you see a main there? You know how when it says,
no.
Do you allow the connection?
No, I don't.
Let me see if, just so people can see what I'm looking at here.
Show and finding?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this could be any number of this could be, well, I had you turn the firewall off, but I have my firewall on. But remember when the program came up, I said accept connections.
Yeah, you did hit accept connections. Oh man. Let me see if I can. Let me look back. Maybe I can find that.
Which is always annoying when you have the firewall on, but my guess is that I just don't know what to add here. So let me think about this, because you might need to do me a favor. Oh, you have your server running? You have your server running, right?
Yeah.
Open up a telnet and connect to it on the 1.29. Telnet 192.168.1.229
168.1.229
on 4,000. Allow.
main.
Yeah, allow that. Okay. And now you got in, right? I wonder why.
Why are you not able to connect to me though?
But you now are able to connect on that.
And if I try to connect to you, I can connect to you.
Yeah. So I don't. This is where I'm like, I don't know why I can't connect to you on that, and you can connect to me. But this is a bummer. No route to host. Unable to connect to remote host. No route to host on my local network, which doesn't make any sense because you're listening on. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I need a networking human being here to tell me why this doesn't work. I used to do this stuff all the time at work back in the day. So I don't understand why this is happening, even though we're at the end. And we're so close, dude, because if I could, I don't know, maybe my machine's not letting. The only other thing I can think of is I'm not able to, I've shut down. Why is my VPN active? Oh, why is
Tailscale?
I'm quitting Tailscale? What is going on? I haven't even been playing with that, but I don't know why. Maybe that was the problem. Let me try now. Nah. It's weird that it said VPN on. I mean, that shouldn't have been anyway, but you're still running the server, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You can establish a connection with me, and I can't establish a connection with you. And I've made sure now that this is no good. On the firewall, we're on the same network, so that's not a problem. And even though the firewall is on, wait, double check that you didn't have block all incoming connections on your firewall. Just as a sanity check.
Yeah.
Scroll up.
Oh yeah, I was on that.
No, it's off.
Yeah.
Okay. And
System settings privacy.
And then make sure these settings are like this.
Okay. Options.
Yeah.
Yep, I have the same thing.
And then we know that we had the main.
Yeah, I have main
that
here.
was working.
And then let's see, I can go to
So I don't know, dude. I'm
privacy and security.
It's not a VPN issue anymore. That's off. You have a VPN running? Double check you don't have a VPN.
No, I don't. I turned it off.
So go back to the network settings. Let's just double check. Remember, I had my weird stuff.
Firewall advanced settings.
Go back one level. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go back. It says VPN.
Yeah, yours says VPN here. I don't have that.
I have a couple of VPNs installed on this machine, but okay.
And all this is still...
Look at this. What is Tailscale doing?
Let's see.
This is driving me crazy. But either way, it shouldn't have mattered. Like, it shouldn't even be going over Tailscale because that's some other stuff. So, dude, I don't know.
I wonder if I have something enabled here in local network.
I don't know. We're on the same network.
Try it now.
You can obviously...
No. Okay.
You can connect to me and I can't connect to you. And we've triple checked that you're listening on port 4000 on 229.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know what that no route to host means.
That's what I'm trying to see. Not connecting to the gateway. It's weird though because I can connect to you, so it's got to be like a setting.
I can't find a path to reach it. This often means the target host is unreachable. Yeah, it's almost like you are not. There's something that's blocking. I don't know enough. Look, I'm pinging you.
You're pinging me, but Telnet is just not.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
This is so weird.
I don't know. Our firewall settings are the same, but we're on the same local network, so that shouldn't have mattered. And I don't know. I do know that we're at the top of the second hour, so we're gonna have to spend some time outside of this. What is the name of your computer? How do I look that up? Find name of Mac computer.
System settings, general about name. System settings.
I wonder if
yeah, just Kevin's MacBook Pro.
Yeah, but there may be a way to yeah, just Mac local at local net. I thought maybe there'd be a way to do it by name, but that wouldn't make sense either. Okay, I don't know. I don't understand. We're gonna have to cut this off and then try to figure it out because you've established a socket connection with me, which was beautiful.
Yep.
But I can't establish a socket connection with you.
Even looking at the.
Yeah. All right. Let's do the following for now. I pushed all the code, right? Let me see. Oh, wrong project again. I created a mess there. Change directory R and change directory USL. I got one change here. What was it? Adding
you
that.
Added the address to it.
Okay. Which I never gave you actually. All right. Let me push that. Git commit -am. Oh, let me do one more thing before I push this. What a bummer, bro. We could have seen this actually happening. So,
what?
So we got to do this. Got to basically. Why can't we establish connection both ways? Fix sort of UI coloring issues with connections, and then some final testing. All right, that's good. Git commit. Okay, just some final notes. Git push. All right, so look, at the end of this day, we've got a weird networking thing happening locally where you're able to establish a connection to me. I'm not able to establish a connection with you. The only thing we didn't try was turning off your firewall and then restarting the cap.
And restarting the cap? I thought...
Turn off your firewall and then turn it off, then kill the server and restart it. Just run the cap. It's the only thing we haven't really tried.
Okay, running the cap, and I'll try and hit me.
No. Okay. Put your firewall back on.
Yep.
So What is this weird thing there? Okay, so look, dude, we're gonna have to do a little research here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask Florin what's going on because you were able to do that, right? Let's try yours again. Hold on, and then we're gonna quit here. I've cleared the logs, so run the system and then double click again.
And connected.
Yeah,
Connection
see?
established.
You connected.
4,000 client restarted.
There it is. 229.
Everything is correct.
And I'm not allowed to go the other way.
Why?
No route.
With Bill.
So for whatever reason, I'm not able to participate in the, we can go my direction, not. You even made sure that your server could like do it locally again.
Like you're saying, do the...
Well, you got to run your cap and then, yeah, try to access it locally again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
With the telnet.
Yep. 227 4000.
No, that's me. You're 229.
229. Connected.
Yep. Okay. And it didn't ask you again if you wanted to accept connection. So, I don't know, bro. All right. We'll have to do more, but we're going to have to end this here. So, I'm sorry that we couldn't get the connection both ways, but I'm sure it's stupid, and
yeah, it's got to be a setting or something I have.
We'll find it. All right. I don't know if we'll be back on Tuesday because I got a long drive, but we'll be back definitely in a week, and hopefully we've got at least that working so we can sort of move on.
Yep.
All right.